Hi friends. Good to see you today. Very briefly, I thought since my very first video was a shout out to a head covering when I was in treatment, I thought I would just go ahead and, I know you see my hair, but I thought I would just point it out. This is what growing out hair after chemo is like. I've pasted it down with gel. And see, this one's already a rogue piece. It's very wild hair. It's unpredictable, and you don't know what's happening as it's growing out. So it's quite an interesting process. I just thought I'd bring you into that, friends. Today, though, I have a little bit of show and tell with a couple of books that I've been reading. In the last few weeks, I picked this up. Well, I read it, and it was quite an experience. Zora Neale Hurston's book, Their Eyes Were Watching God. Pretty amazing title, huh? It's a book on a lot of lists, kind of a must-read. Zora Neale Hurston was a Black woman born in 1891 and lived to be until 1960. So she was writing in that era. And this is her autobiography. You can't see the title because I got it on interlibrary loan. You know, don't forget about that resource. If you like to hold a book and it's not at your library, interlibrary loan. I'm trying to quit just buying all the books that I want to read. Dust Tracks on a Road. Dust Tracks on a Road. That's her autobiography. Anyway, she is an incredible writer, very vivid, creative and vivid writer. So before I read those, I had picked up this book, With Head and Heart by Howard Thurman. It's his autobiography, and I started with his, but it was a little bit dry, and I liked that about it because it's just very factual, and he's an interesting writer. So I haven't read it all yet, so I can't really attest to it per se. But the reason I'm reading these books is because I want to try to understand where my Black friends are coming from. I feel like I have always had an open mind, and I was raised to consider all people equal. My parents taught us that. But I think I've learned from white people mostly what the experience has been like for Black people. And so I'm trying to actually listen to my friends who have the first voice, the primary voice. You know, have you heard of primary sources versus secondary? I'm trying to go to the primary source, both in reading and also just in conversations. So that's why I read the books. And this, With Head and Heart, Howard Thurman was one of the great minds of the 20th century. And he went to Howard College, I believe it's called, Howard University. It was kind of like the Harvard for whites, Howard for Blacks. So he was very intellectual as a child, and they recognized that and sent him to school. But this is something he said when he was in school. What he learned from one of his great mentors, Dr. Cross, was, first of all, his classes were governed by stern etiquette. For instance, no student was permitted to raise a question in class if he could not state his query with well-reasoned clarity. Do we hold to that standard? But this is especially what I wanted to share. Dr. Cross would not permit us to criticize any conventional or orthodox position unless we could also make an equally persuasive case for the position we sought to undermine. they had to make an equally persuasive case for the position they sought to undermine. We don't do that. We need to do that. Are we listening to those who are on an opposing side? I feel that as a nation, as a community, both local and national, we're not on the right path until we seek to understand. We're not on the right path until we seek to listen to those we actually disagree with. No, don't listen to those we agree with. Talk about the people that they disagree with, unless they're first actually really stating their case, their full case. Not the straw man case, not a caricature. And I'm just as guilty as everybody, and I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to grow in this area. I really do believe that we are more alike than we're not alike. I really believe that as humans, we are 80%, it is, random, but say we're 80% shared values and 20% where we differ. But that's not how we're acting right now. We're not told to act that way. And I'm appealing. Let's get on board a different train. A train that wants to bring people together, to build bridges. But before we do that, we have to read people maybe we haven't read before, and sit down and have conversations to learn and listen and understand in such a way that we could actually persuade someone for their case. We're all in this together, and it's no fun when we get on different sides, like there's a concrete wall between us, 100 feet high, and there's no way we can fellowship and be for one another. That's not fun. It's not how we're meant to be. Our battle is not against flesh and blood. So let's be on each other's team. Good to talk to you today. I hope that I am for all of you. I really do. So let's be for one another, okay? We're all in this together.